student will occasionally ask me where the power comes from when you punch, whether it's coming from the front leg or the rear leg. Whether you're doing a reverse punch or a forward punch, the answer is the same. And the way I show it to my students is I'll have them lean against the wall, press with their hands, and I'll tell them to pick up their front leg. Continuing the press, I'll tell them to pick up their rear leg, and it immediately becomes obvious that the power comes from the rear leg rather than the front leg. Also, many schools use ageuki against a face punch. My opponent throws his left punch, and I block. Totally fine, unless of course the timing is a little off. Then this happens. Since I've gone straight up, I'm leaving myself completely open. In our dojo instead we do a Shotokan. I'm still going up somewhat, but I'm more pressing forward. He does his face punch, and I press his arm up. Notice I'm no higher than forehead level, but I pressed his arm forward. As he punches, I'm making contact with him and riding his fist up. The other good thing about this is I'm all set for my reverse punch. So as he punches, he's wide open for my reverse. This can also be used against a mid punch. As he throws his left mid, I'm going to ride his fist up. And again, he's open for my counterattack. Poise is very important in the martial arts. The way you present yourself, either to an opponent or a judge, very important. When you go to tournament, you want to make sure you give a good, solid presentation. Steve Gakuin, Shotokan, Nijushi. It's not so that you're being loud, but you want to show them that you're a force to be reckoned with. You don't want to get up there, Steve Gakuin, Shotokan, Nijushi. So attitude is very important. I had a brown belt years ago when I was a lower rank at Black Belt Academy. He didn't like the way I yoed. So he said, come here. He put me in front of the mirror. And of course I did yoi. He didn't like it. So for the next 20 minutes I stood in front of the mirror going, which doesn't seem like a big deal. But the difference between almost like do and showing a little bit more assertiveness sets the proper tone in front of the judges, in front of your opponent. If you're fighting somebody and you look like a force to be reckoned with, he's going to be a little apprehensive, as opposed to you looking like a pushover. So attitude, poise, very important in your presentation and in your performance. Many times students doing front kick don't understand it, that these standing foot pivots. We don't tell a student to pivot the foot because then they'll tend to overdo it. But when you kick, I have my left side forward. I'm going to bring my right side forward. The only way that exchange will happen evenly without my body circling is if this foot pivots. One more time, I'm not going to pivot my foot, but I will allow it to pivot on extension. Shito, sword hand, is a basic tool of the martial arts. Everyone in my dojo was taught the same way, everyone in our association, most people I know, were taught to do a sword hand like this. You're using the fleshy part of the hand from pinky to wrist, and the fingers are slightly curved. The problem though is with this thumb. We've all occasionally had our thumbs jammed while doing sparring, and I took a look at the thumb position and it dawned on me, rather than this, I make a slight variation. I point the thumb to the index finger. It makes it a little more aerodynamic, it doesn't change the hand positioning, and it just prevents this from happening. Ki-ai is a very important element of the martial arts. Most people know the Ki-ai as a yell. It doesn't have to be a yell. It can be a respiration, an exhalation. It doesn't have to be vocalized. Just as it can be, it can also be, you're tightening your abdominal muscles, you're tightening up your body, you're going to react a little sharper, a little faster, a little quicker, and it has the added effect of scaring your opponent. Some schools Ki-ai on every single move. That gets to be a little ridiculous because you have to inhale in order to exhale. It's actually slowing your technique down. Think of it as a punctuation mark rather than something that's done constantly. Proper way to ki is to use a vowel. Any vowel would do. A, E, I, O, or U, and don't tell me sometimes why. This isn't one of them. So you would either be able to go using your diaphragm, A, E, I, O, U. You would not use a consonant. B, K, F is actually closing off the throat and cutting off the very air you're trying to let out. So use a ki powerfully and correctly.